Jess FM, Jess TV, jessfm.ca on Facebook, and you can even download the app. I started this show in hopes to raise awareness in our community for what is out there for us and maybe what we can do to help the things that are out there in the community. Tonight my guests are going to be Amanda Scout from the Native Counseling Services of Alberta and Dallas Hardy of Southern Alberta Bikers. So first I have Amanda Scout. Welcome, Amanda. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
So I'm just would like to ask you if you could tell us about who you are and what you do at the Native Counseling Services of Alberta.
Okay, so I grew up on the Blood Reserve near Cardston, actually closer to Waterton. But I've lived here in the city for, close to 30 years now. So the job that I do is community engagement and partnership.
Okay.
For Native Counseling Services, but really what it is pulling together the programs and services and agencies that work with our Indigenous population.
Okay.
And getting people to work together and support each other and collaborate on projects that are going to benefit our community.
Right.
So I just try to bring people together, and we've got a plan and goals, but of course it's what everybody can add to whatever initiative we're working on.
Right.
And yeah, things are going well. I've been doing this job since 2015, but I've worked basically in the same role for close to 12 years now. So
Okay, all in Lethbridge?
all in Lethbridge, yeah.
Okay.
I previously worked with the Aboriginal Council till 2014 when they ended, and yeah, so I've basically been doing the same thing for over 10 years here in the city.
So just raising awareness and gaining partnerships to
Yeah.
better the community and better Indigenous people in the community also.
Definitely. I also co-chair the Reconciliation Lethbridge
I did
Advisory
look that up, actually.
Committee with Mayor Spearman, and lots of work is being done in that area where now I think officially 2 years old, if I'm right, but there was a lot of work being done before that. So we are a committee that advises mayor and council on those types of issues related to reconciliation.
Okay.
And we actually have a implementation plan, but the actual city of Lethbridge is going to be doing to address those 94 calls to action from the Truth and Reconciliation Commission.
Right. Because that has to be
Yeah.
followed through with, of course, right?
Yeah, and if there's some, you want to gain awareness about Indigenous issues, reconciliation, the history and all that, that's a good place to start, is reading that report, and because a lot of work went into it and a lot of voices were
Can you say
heard.
again what that report is that we
It's
should be
the
reading?
Truth and Reconciliation 94 Calls to Action.
Okay, and you're going to be able to find that probably right
Oh
on
yeah,
Google.
just Google it, and there's lots.
Mhm.
And City of Lethbridge, Reconciliation Lethbridge is right on the city website, and you can go and read all our past minutes and see what we've been doing for the past couple of years. We've had 2 reconciliation weeks here in the city.
Okay. What
And
are
that's in-
those?
That's in September, and we provide a week of just activities that are going to build understanding between Indigenous people and non-Indigenous people and the community, and provide opportunities for people to learn about maybe history that they haven't
That's right.
that they didn't get in school, and
Yeah.
and that's all a part of
For Indigenous people to learn that, or for
Well,
all people?
all people.
That's
Know,
right.
reconciliation is about everybody, and the Indigenous people were, here prior to Canada, so it's good for Canadians to understand that all that history before they were actually here, and I think it creates
It'll
just
create
a better
understanding.
a better understanding for for everybody.
Right, for everybody in a whole. Because you can't completely understand the whole picture of anything. It's just like that saying people will say, oh, you can't judge a book by its cover. Well, it's the same type of thing. If you don't know the in-depth situation of what we're dealing with, then you don't know everything, right?
Yes,
Because
yes.
it's bigger than this and that. It's
Yeah,
bigger than, you know what I mean?
And I think when we talk about the relationship between Indigenous people and non-Indigenous people, it's a very complicated thing.
Yes, it is.
And it's something that we all need to work on to, for, I guess, for a better community in the future for kids.
Sure,
And
yeah. We can't be having the same complaints or arguments or issues or wants or needs forever. That's
Definitely.
called... Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, I would think so.
I would think that that's crazy, especially
Definitely.
with such well-educated humans as we are here in Canada. That's really something's got to give. And I do realize that there's a lot being done, but as I was looking into some Indigenous support for something that a group I'm part of, and an event that we were having, I noticed that it was a little harder to find everything and what I needed and where I needed to go and stuff. And I thought, well, if it was hard for me, then it must be hard for Indigenous people themselves.
Definitely.
Or if we're dealing with anybody who maybe needs support from, and they're not well educated or don't have all the same awareness or supports that some of us have, they're going to have a very hard time finding those supports also.
Oh, for sure.
So I thought that was really strange, and that I wanted to raise awareness about that, and that maybe we're lacking in helping out supporting our Indigenous supports in the community. If we did that, would we see more understanding? Probably. Would we see more help going out to people who maybe need it? Yes, probably. So it would be a good thing. I don't know, if you're sitting there and you're wondering to yourself today, hey, I wonder how I can help out my Indigenous supports in the community, you could always reach out to Native Counseling Services, and I'm sure they could shoot you to the right people. Or if you just want to learn something, you just have maybe just a question you don't understand, I'm sure that you're going to be able to help them find maybe some answers or somewhere to go.
Yeah, at least point in the right direction, I would say.
Yeah, and that's always something good to know in the community, for sure. So, what is the Wednesday at the library? What goes on there?
Okay, so that's our monthly interagency meeting, and that's part of one of the pieces that I help facilitate in partnership with the Lethbridge Public Library. The library has been so supportive, and they're just an excellent partner in everything we do. And I don't know, I don't think we'd have some of the success we've had if it wasn't for that. They provide the free space, and we have that meeting every first Wednesday of every month.
Okay.
And from 9 to about noon, and it's in the theater gallery of the main branch of the public library. And really what it is just coming together, sharing what everybody's working on. Of course, it's Indigenous focused.
Of course.
But it's not all Indigenous groups, because there aren't that many. We have really good participation from lots of the not-for-profits. And so we, first Wednesday, we all get together. Sometimes we share we provide a presentation. Maybe somebody's doing a survey, or they've got a new program or something. So they'll come present on that and, make connections. We get anywhere from, like today's meeting, I think we have 42 people from, I'd say 20 organizations.
Nice.
Or more. And then today we had a couple of presentations, one from Family Center. That might be who you want to connect with on your
Mama Palooza.
Mama Palooza thing.
Yes.
There's some good programs going on.
Yeah, there are, yes.
So, they're always there. And the police, and the city people, and all the Friendship Center. We've got an amazing Friendship Center now that's really making they've changed management in the last few years, and they're just coming out with some really amazing cultural learning and opportunities for everybody. So they're another really good resource because they've been here. Friendship Center has been in Lethbridge for I think 50 years.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's there, and that's what it's for people to get together and socialize and get to know each other
So that's what
and
happens.
learn about
they
the
just
culture.
Okay, and learn about their culture. Okay, and so is the culture that's learned about in this area blood tribe culture?
It's
How does it
predominantly Blackfoot. There's
Blackfoot,
there's
okay.
lots of other indigenous groups here, but because our city here sits on traditional Blackfoot territory,
Yes.
and so the main, of course, group is Blood Tribe and also Piikani because they're part of the Blackfoot Confederacy as well, and
Okay.
so but really mostly Blackfoot Blood Tribe, but really changing and growing. We have a really good Métis local group that's again just getting on their feet, reorganizing, and together sharing their culture and their the unique things about being Métis. So yeah, I kind of lost what I was saying.
No, you were just
Sorry.
telling me. No, that's okay. You were just telling me that, it's mostly Blackfoot culture in this
Yeah,
area.
but we've got, because of the university,
You
the
have some
college,
others,
and,
yeah.
and there are lots of
I moved
different
here. I grew up here in Lethbridge, and then I moved away to northern Alberta for 16 years, and just came back 4 years ago. And there, it's mostly Cree.
yeah, because
Yeah,
those
and
are their
Métis.
traditional.
Yeah,
Lands,
so
and-
it was different. I don't know what's different. Not really anything, but a little bit. Just some of the stuff that I hear or about culture is a little different.
Yeah, and so the Blood Tribe is our closest neighbor. They're
Yes.
right next door to us, and the membership of the tribe is over 14,000.
Okay.
And lots have moved into our city here for school, work, better opportunities, housing, health. Lots of reasons have brought people to move to the city and really become part of it. Like I said, I've been here for over 20 some years. I don't want to say too many, but
But you're born and raised
on the Blood
on
Reserve.
the Blood
Yeah,
Reserve.
I was.
Okay.
I didn't come to school here throughout.
You went to
childhood.
school on the Blood Reserve.
I went to school actually in the town of Cardston. That is just
Okay.
because of location. That was what was closest.
Okay.
But yeah, I've been here for that long. My kids have never lived on the reserve, so this is their home. When they think of home, it's here in Lethbridge. And
Right.
yeah,
Right. I'm pretty sure that many Indigenous people think that this is home. That's how it is. That's why we all live here together, and we all should be happy. So funding. I'm curious about, where does your funding come from your organization or for other organizations that are dealing with Indigenous support here in Lethbridge?
well, my funding comes from the Government of Canada Indigenous Services, and it's called Urban Partnerships for Indigenous Peoples.
Okay.
And it's across Canada, they fund, I think it's now up to 32 cities like Lethbridge that are trying to, because of Indigenous people moving into urban centers, there's that need for services and collaborations that are going to support them. So the government recognizes that. That's a source of funding. And then our program is also funded by Indigenous Relations, Government of Alberta Indigenous Relations.
Okay.
Urban Indigenous Initiatives, I think it's called. Similar to, and same reasons, because they recognize that lots of Indigenous people are in the urban setting and supports need to be developed and
Right.
enhanced and stuff. And most of the supports are all in the not-for-profit, and you know how hard that is.
Yeah, it's
To survive is really hard. And
yeah, you're always making your next phone call or your next stop to the next organization or business, trying to see if they want to give you a hand, because it's it's not easy trying to do the things you want to do in the area or make change.
Or
Change is hard to make without funding.
Yeah, totally. Funding changes and you're gone the next
Or there's
year.
that.
And yeah, so
Yes.
it's hard in that
Yeah.
climate of not for profit, I think, to
Yeah.
get things, especially when financial times are hard for everybody.
Everybody. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
It takes special people to do that kind of work. So that takes me to my next question. How did you end up just wanting to do this type of work? Because your work really is related to giving back to others or helping others, you know, by gaining these by making these supports available
Mhm.
and reaching out to others.
I mean, I guess just because I'm an Indigenous person that has moved into the city and it allows me to, I guess, I love my job. It's one of the most positive thing, you know, it's so positive. I always say my job is to make friends and be nice to people, so I love that. And just being able to go home and say, oh, I'm, you know, hopefully something I'm doing now maybe is going to make things better for my kids in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's what
Right.
motivates me, I guess, is that, you know, wanting other people, Indigenous people to succeed and
That's right.
non-Indigenous people to have that better understanding, I guess. Just to make that transition easier, I guess.
Right.
Mm.
'Cause sometimes I wonder if maybe, I mean, this happens to everybody. It doesn't matter where you're from or who you are, but I wonder if sometimes Indigenous people sometimes feel like, well, what's the point? You know, people are already running me down anyways, or people are already thinking this way, or I already think this way, so why try, or whatever. And then I think it takes people who stand up and say, well, no, like,
Mm-hmm.
be proud, be who you have rights. You are just as good, and you can do just as good as everybody else
Oh, definitely.
can do, no matter if you come from a reserve or from the city or from the farm or
Yeah, definitely.
or anywhere, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess that's what, you know, when we talk about reconciliation, it's really, I think the biggest piece of it is about understanding what historically what Indigenous people have, what actually Canada has done to Indigenous people
Right.
In the last 151 years, that, you know, if you put yourself in that position, it's going to make you really think,
Yeah.
you know, why. Because not only, you know, I guess what we weren't learning in school, and
Yes.
then just those deep down system things that make people believe that Indigenous people don't deserve what every other Canadian deserves, I guess.
Yeah, there are those
And-
deep down system things that I think get embedded in on both sides of the spectrum, right? And it just becomes this, sometimes, it doesn't have to be, and-
Definitely.
but it is sometimes for surely still happening.
Mm-hmm.
There's still a stigma, there's still things going on that aren't okay.
Definitely.
I think about missing Indigenous women and
Mhm.
children that
Mhm.
can't not go untalked about. I mean, it's no longer, I mean, this day and age with these cell phones, with the internet, I mean, look at what we're doing right here with this show.
Mhm.
It's harder to hide what is happening, and it is
Definitely.
happening. So why? Why? What's happening? You know, it's just such a big question.
Yeah,
It
is.
bugs me some days. I sit there going, what's going on?
Well, definitely. And then as a parent, I've got 2 daughters and 2 stepdaughters and
Yeah.
granddaughters. And, you know, how do you tell your daughter, you know, you're 5 times, or is it 5 or 10 more times likely to be murdered or go missing than your classmates? How do you tell your 10-year-old
know.
child that, right?
It's
And
true, though. You have to tell her
it's
to be more
completely
aware.
true. Definitely. You know,
Because
how do
something's
you...
wrong. There's an issue.
Yeah, for sure. So, and I think that's why lots of people are, you know, trying to bring that awareness to those issues. Like here in Lethbridge, we've got Sisters in Spirit. We do every October 4th.
Right.
We walk right from City Hall right past here. We
Okay.
have a candlelight vigil in the Galt Gardens there.
Yeah.
And we've been doing, I think this is going to be the 13th. And, 13 years of bringing awareness to that issue.
And when is this?
October 4th every year.
Really? And what is that called again?
It's called Sisters in Spirit Candlelight Vigil.
Oh, okay.
And there's a group of women that have been working on that for 13 years.
Oh, okay.
Trying to bring that awareness to.
When it comes closer to the time of September and October here, we better get you back on here to discuss those, because obviously, I mean, Reconciliation Week and Sisters in Spirit, to remember what's going on here, to raise awareness, is something that we should all be attending, especially if we have the time.
Yes.
If you
for
like
sure.
to give back, or if you volunteer, that would be something to reach out for. There was also the red dress. There's the hanging of the red dresses. It happened in the Galt Gardens.
Same thing. That was part of Sisters in Spirit.
Oh, that's the
Yeah.
same thing.
Yeah.
Okay. I did see that all over Facebook. So
This weekend, part of they're doing the Jane's Walk things all over the city, right?
Yes.
So Reconciliation Lethbridge Committee is sponsoring one. Starts at the Galt Museum.
Okay.
There's going to be an elder and a TP talking about history and stuff. They're going to walk past the courthouse. There's going to be another TP, another elder, talking about some of the legal issues.
Okay.
And it's going to end at is it Brick and Mortar? There's a art exhibit there right now.
Oh, okay.
Focused. I haven't seen it yet, but
Focused on Indigenous.
focused on buffalo and
Oh,
yeah.
okay,
and
nice.
Here it's beautiful. So those walks are going to go this Saturday. One's at 10 and one's at 1 p.m. And there's a group that's helping.
Jane's Walk,
Provide
it's
that.
called. And
Yeah.
what is that? What awareness is that bringing? For Jane's Walk.
Jane's Walk is a whole, and I just learned this too.
Okay.
It's a whole worldwide thing where people lead tours in their own neighborhoods and talk about history and
Oh,
character and all that.
that's amazing.
And Lethbridge has a ton of them. I saw there's a rattlesnake one. There's one on historic North.
Oh, so that's what's
Lethbridge.
going. Oh, okay. And
So,
this
like,
one
people
happening at the Galt to here
is-
is Indigenous.
Yes.
Oh, this is amazing.
Yeah. So, and check Facebook. Just look on Jane's Walk Lethbridge, and there's a bunch of different ones that are.
I did see it, and I shared it on Awareness Hour with Kathleen also, so you can see it there. Because I did kind of check it out, but I didn't realize it was in that kind of in depth. So
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
really
no.
cool.
So I guess really it's learning about your community and the history and the people and
yeah.
the buildings and the land and
Yeah, and downtown Lethbridge, they have a lot of beautiful things to see. Great community going on here. Sometimes, for sure, downtown Lethbridge is more than you think it is, or more than maybe you hear whispers about. So come and check it out. What kind of Indigenous support is there for children in this area?
Opagasson is
Yes.
it's a child care center, child development center on Stafford Drive there.
Yep.
They've been in the city for I think it's 30 years now, and they do daycare, Head Start, and preschool, kindergarten, I think.
Okay.
And they all Blackfoot focused. They teach the language.
Oh,
they have
that's
elders all the time. Beautiful place, and just really putting that pride and identity back into young children. And
Right. That's
making-
important. I think.
Yeah, very
important.
much. And a big piece of what was missing in people's,
well,
that
you
has
don't-
kind of brought us.
down a bit
Yeah,
sometimes, because you need to be proud of who you are. No matter what anybody else may say or something, or slurs you may hear or something crazy along those lines, you always got to be proud of who you are, because it's important. It's your identity.
Mm-hmm.
And when any of us struggle with an identity issue, then we're struggling. We find ourselves in this despair, and that's never a good place to be.
Definitely,
So-
and maybe can contribute to some of the social problems that
Right.
that loss of identity.
Yeah,
can really
For sure.
add
To the issues.
for
So
sure.
you say elders. I've heard that a couple times come from your mouth here. So that means there must be active elders in this area, obviously. Then,
Oh, for sure.
so quite a few. And is there people who deal with like medicine and things like that in the area, or anything
There
like that?
are a good place. I mean, Friendship Center always a good place to start. There's some really knowledgeable people there, and that they will point you in the right direction
Right.
if you're looking for elders. Because there's our spiritual elders, and then there's like our knowledge keeper kind of elders.
Right. There's difference.
So there's a difference, and I always end up asking because I don't want to, well, you don't want to tell
you don't want to say the
anybody.
wrong thing.
Yeah, of course,
You never
everybody.
really know, right? It's just like when you go to the doctor and the doctor says, "Sorry, you have to go to the specialist because I don't know the answer." It's like
Yeah,
the same thing,
Exactly.
right?
So
Yeah.
and like I said, the Friendship Center, great resource for that.
Right.
Galt Museum, university, college, everybody works with lots of the same elders, but of course the knowledge is different. It depends what you're looking for, right?
Right, exactly what you need. But the knowledge is out there if you keep looking. And again, if you want to help out anywhere in your community and you want to make a change in the Indigenous support around here, you can always reach out to some of the organizations that we just spoke about, or to Native Counseling Services of Alberta. And Amanda Scout can give you a hand on at least shooting you to the right way.
You bet.
So where exactly are you guys located?
I'm located on 1014 3rd Avenue South. That's
Okay.
where my office is. Within Native Counseling. Native Counseling Services is provides it's a support for people navigating the legal system. So
Right.
domestic violence, traffic, criminal, and family court. We have court workers that will, because that can be a really scary process, and we have workers that can support people going through that totally free.
Yes.
And so say you got in trouble with parking tickets or fines or whatever, they can help you with that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the main focus of Native Counseling. My project was just kind of, because of that breakdown of Aboriginal Council, it was kind of just brought in that way because they were stable. Native Counseling is now 49 years old.
Right, I did see that on.
And so they were the project was brought in there to, because we're neutral and we've been, we're stable, and so that's why the project was in there, and it's more to the community development side. So I really work for the community.
Right.
And
So many people working right for the community, within the community. I wonder if we're all aware of that. How much it takes others to give of themselves to make sure that your community is doing well. So again, if you can give back, reach out to whatever you're passionate about, step out and give some of your time. It says that some of your programs are for youth at risk. Is that just counseling them for their issues with court also?
For sure.
Yeah, okay. Would you guys do you guys help them with knowing where to go to get actual supports, like counseling and things like that, or addictions help or something, maybe, if they needed it?
I would think they get pointed in the right direction.
Okay. So there's also that being offered there. Something I saw online is that Native Counseling Services of Alberta is to assist our Aboriginal people in gaining fair and equitable access to the justice, children's services, and corrections system in Alberta. So it's an important place. You can find them at ncsa.ca. So I think we're getting to the halfway point here. Amanda, I really want to thank you for coming on the show and spreading Indigenous support. It's so important. And
Well, thanks for inviting me.
appreciate it.
I appreciate it as well.
Hopefully people reach out to you and get out there and give some more supports, or just know more about what is out there for them.
Nice. Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Jim Castelli still in the show here.
Hi, welcome back to Awareness Hour here. I just wanted to change up for bringing in Dallas Hardy as a guest here from Southern Alberta Bikers. Welcome, Dallas. How are you?
Well, good. Busy, but thank you for having us.
Yeah, it's we're Bikers Building Bridges is a supporter of your event coming up for sure. So it was easy for me to reach out to you and want to support what you're doing.
Well, we greatly appreciate that. Part of our goal is to try to bring the biking community together in Southern Alberta.
Right.
It seems like over the years that's been part of the problem, that we're all, regardless of what you ride, we're all one big happy family.
Mhm.
But part of our goal of our group is to try to bring the biking community together in support of lots of different functions and organizations around Southern Alberta.
Right. You do, I think, a good, maybe about 5 really important things going on in the year I looked up. You have your monthly meetings.
Yeah, we actually, the second Wednesday of each month,
Mm-hmm.
we have our monthly meetings at the Colehurst Legion. The Colehurst Legion is kind of our unofficial clubhouse. They let us kind of have run of the place whenever we need to. So yeah, we meet the second Wednesday at 7:30 on the Wednesday night and have our monthly meeting. And then we also do a couple of events there. We do our Christmas party each year there.
Okay.
And a bunch of their members actually chip in and help out to make that a success. And they do a great job of hosting that. And they do a lot of the food catering and whatnot for us.
Mhm.
And so yeah,
That's a good community collaboration right there. It shows.
yeah.
Yeah.
They their members are unbelievable. They there's a big core of them that actually, no matter what we're doing, we actually start our toy run in the fall there, and they support us very well. They're always gathering up donations and teddy bears and whatnot long before our teddy bear parade or our toy run, I should say, and they do a great job, and we really appreciate that. So they do a lot for us.
That's the Colehurst Legion, right?
Yes, Colehurst Legion.
You can always support them if you're ever looking for somewhere to support.
Yeah, great bunch of people. They can always use it. The Legions definitely need the support.
Yeah, they do. So I think sometimes they get forgotten, but in reality, they do a lot for the communities. I just think that they don't run around needing a lot of look at me for it,
Yeah.
and then we don't see it, we don't realize it.
Well, their membership is an older base, obviously, because of the World Wars, et cetera, and their membership is getting older, and they've made some adjustments to the requirements to be a member, which has helped their membership, and then
Yes.
with support groups like ours that help support them. We always make donations to them throughout the year to help support their needs as well. So yeah, it's great what they do for us, and we try to give back to them as well.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what it's about in a community. That's how you are a community. That's how a community becomes stronger, actually, right? So,
Exactly. So,
you also have, do you have a Sunday breakfast?
that's actually started out as a UMCI, the United Motorcycle Club International,
Okay.
which technically doesn't have a chapter here anymore, but there's still a bunch of the members, the older members, once again, from that organization that do meet on Sunday mornings. The younger ones of us don't make it there a lot.
Yeah.
Depends how early we get up to go riding on Sundays, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Sundays are a riding day.
exactly. But that is something that still goes on. Some days there might be 2 or 3 people there. Some days there might be
Right.
20. But it is still a motorcycle family-based function. So
Right.
something that's went on for years and years and years. So
What about the Dairy Queen ice creams? Is that still a thing too? That used to be
That's-
something.
yeah, that's on Tuesday night. That's something that some of the older bikers in the community started. It wasn't actually sanctioned by any particular body, from what I understand.
Okay.
I know Bro had a big part of it at one time, but I know there was guys like Mike Fick and a number of those guys, I believe Tim Moss and those guys from Sideline Cycle kind of started that a long time ago. And we've kind of tried to carry it on throughout over the years. It's tough throughout the wintertime with the way the winters are here to carry it
Yes,
through.
it's true.
But every once in a while, all of a sudden, there'll be 5 or 6 guys there, even in the middle of winter. Obviously they won't be riding, but But
Yeah.
we've actually, the last couple of years, been trying to bring life back into the Tuesday nights. And coincidentally, last Tuesday, we impromptu decided to do the Dairy Queen, the Wednesday night Dairy Queen thing. And so we invited whoever wanted to go for a ride to meet up at 5:30, and we decided to go for a ride, and we ended up with, I believe there was like 12 or 14 bikes. And
There
we're
you go.
hoping and praying that it was the windiest ride of the year, because it was horribly windy.
Oh, I don't like those windy rides myself.
We took off south down towards through Welling, and there was times I'm thinking, boy, what are we doing out here? And then when we turned and went east, you couldn't even hear your bike running. It was so perfectly quiet. It was just like, the wind at your back. And eventually, we went through Raymond and then over and up to Coaldale and back into town. And everybody was glad to get back to the Dairy Queen. I know that much. And
Like we all made it.
but that was the talk is, geez, I hope that's the windiest ride we have to do this year,
Yeah.
because it was horribly windy. But great bunch of people come out, and yeah, we obviously with the weather turning again, it didn't happen this week, but it's something that we're trying to put some life back into, and that night it's more designed as a social night.
Right.
If we've got enough people that have interest to go on a ride, we'll go for a ride prior to getting together at Dairy Queen at 7:00 for social time, ice cream, whatever you want to do.
Right.
But we have 6 other nights we can ride, and we kind of try to make Tuesday night a social night for everybody to get together and visit and chat about whatever they want to talk about, their bikes, what they're riding, where they're going.
Maybe their ideas for
And-
the community, maybe, who knows what.
Well, I know there's been some rides organized impromptu there. There's been some, oh, you're doing this, oh, I want to go with you. And
Partnerships.
I know I take off to Sturgis every year, and I know I've had some people that showed up there, and if you're going to go to Sturgis, I'll go with you, and
Yeah.
things like that. So it's a good place to get together. It's not about any one club, or it's not sanctioned by any one club. It's open to anybody that rides. So
Yeah.
so it's open
That's
to all
the nice
riders.
thing. Anybody can go. It's open to any rider. So if you're sitting in the city and you're going, oh, I wish I had somebody to ride with or something to do, well, you can always check out Southern Alberta Bikers on Facebook, and they've got a lot of rides going on often. So it's worth checking out. So obviously the most important thing we're here to discuss is your motorcycle awareness and teddy bear parade that you have coming up this Saturday. That's for the Chinook Regional Hospital. That's super, super important, as it's something I would say special to be part of here in the community. So can you talk that up for me a little bit?
Well, this event, it's one of our marquee events. We actually, at one time, it was 2 separate events. At one time, we had our motorcycle awareness parade in May.
Okay.
And then later in June, usually on Father's Day, we would have the teddy bear parade. But what we were finding is we were getting over-evented, and the attendance for each one would be, minimally low. And the problem with June is, people are generally out on holidays or out riding. So what we actually did was a few years back, we combined the 2 events, and it's actually been a complete success. Basically what the hospital wants is wrapped teddy bears, and I have to stress wrapped. The hospital can no longer accept stuff that's unwrapped or stuff that's been subjected to the elements, the dirt, blah, blah, blah. It has to be clean when it's going into the hospital environment. So basically what it is we gather up at 9 o'clock on Saturday morning. We generally have coffee and donuts, or a chit-chat time, get together, hang out, visit. There's a lot of people, that's the only time you see them in a year. People come from different cities and whatnot to attend this, and it might be the only time you get to see some people.
Okay.
So basically we start getting together at 9 o'clock. Around 10:30 we have an orientation where we go over the route, thank everybody for coming. We do a blocker orientation, talk about where we need to block. Blockers, what our blockers do is block intersections, make it safe for all the riders to get through the route.
Together, so that they're all going through together, right?
Yeah, we do this by the book. We actually apply to the city for a parade permit.
Okay.
So we do attain a parade permit from the city. And as having said that, we are required to have blockers, and once we attain that permit, we are allowed to run just like any other parade.
Okay.
We, for the most part, we do get support from the LPS, the Lethbridge Police Service. As long as they have guys available, they'll come out and provide us with an escort, which is greatly appreciated. And it just, it makes the safety aspect tenfold.
Yeah, and I mean, they just have so much going on. To step out of their busy schedules to come and help the community is really special.
It is. I can't even begin to explain how much we appreciate their help. It makes the community realize we're not just a bunch of bikers out
That's
doing
right.
something we shouldn't do. The people need to realize we do go about this, legally as we can. We get a permit. We always invite the police forces to participate. And another business that has been very supportive to us, LA Towing, as long as they're not that busy, they'll provide us with a tow truck or two. And I know a couple of their drivers just love to participate. And they'll usually bring up the rear, and they'll block off all the lanes of traffic to keep the the motoring traffic out of the parade, so we can get through the event safely. So yeah, like I said, we start meeting up around 9, and we do orientation around 10:30, and then 11. As a group, we leave Lowe's. Lowe's Home Improvement on the south side is gracious enough to let us use their parking lot as our starting point.
Okay.
And then we take off out of there and we travel north down Mayor McGrath to Scenic Drive. We'll make a left-hand turn on Scenic Drive, and as a group or as a parade would do, we travel all the way down Scenic Drive.
Okay.
And then we'll make a right-hand turn onto 3rd Avenue South, and we'll travel all the way across 3rd Avenue to the Water Tower. At the Water Tower, we make a right-hand turn onto Mayor McGrath again, and we'll travel south there to 9th Avenue. And at 9th Avenue, we make a right-hand turn and across 9th Avenue and then into the parkade at the hospital.
Okay.
And Maria and the staff at the hospital always get the security there to open up the parking lot for us, so we don't all have to pay to get in there. And we form up there. And one of the biggest questions we always get from riders, the general public as well, as you guys parade through, if the police are escorting us, of course we can proceed through the red light once it's safe to do so. And of course the traffic cameras are all flashing at us, but of course because we have the permit, they waive all those, they just delete them.
Oh, okay.
So, but we've had some laughs over that over the years. But then once we end up at the hospital, we of course we all park our bikes and get off and get the teddy bears unpacked, and then Maria and her staff will escort us into the hospital, into the
Okay.
foyer. And once in there, if they can bring some kids down, it all depends on how many kids they have in the pediatrics ward or in child life services. If there's any of them that are healthy enough or want to come down and participate, we generally, whatever, we'll pile them up different years. Some dealerships have had trucks there that will fill up or whatnot. And basically we go there and we donate all of the teddy bears and whatnot. And I always go back to a little story. I don't know how many years ago. One of the most rewarding things I ever happened is I walked into the foyer of the hospital, and I was carrying a pretty big teddy bear. And that was the year that they had a few kids down there. And this little girl, I'm guessing she was 2, 3, maybe 4 years old, didn't know me, had never seen me before. She seen that teddy bear, and she decided she wanted that teddy bear. And she basically begged for me to pick her up and carry her. And I tried to just give her the teddy bear and put her back down, and she didn't want that. There was something, she just wanted to be a part of what was going on. And that there solidified it to me from that day forward. My heart was into it.
That's right.
My heart was always into it, but
that's the moment that it's like, this is worth it.
I would still get choked up talking
Right,
about it.
yeah, my own self I am. I'm just like, oh, just because I wonder if we realize what being part of something like this in your own community really is. This isn't just for bikers. It is, we want bikers to be there, but really we need teddy bears from anybody. This is the Chinook Regional Hospital is our own hospital, and there's children there hurting, and you know, they're having a hard time. They got to go through really bad
Well, there's a lot of bad-
procedures, you
yeah.
know, and just having a teddy bear to be with you, all of a sudden, you're not alone.
It's amazing how much difference that teddy
Yeah.
bear can make, and I've had so many comments over the years from different people, whether it be the day of the event or it doesn't matter. You know, we'll run into somebody saying, you know, our child was in the hospital, or my sister or my brother, and they got one of those teddy bears, and the difference it made. And yeah, you're absolutely right. You know, it's not just about the motorbikes. You know, if people want to support it, they're more than welcome to
That's
bring
right.
teddy bears down to Lowe's the morning of the event, and we'll gladly, accept the donations, whatever, and if we also collect cash, if anybody wants to donate cash.
Yes.
We turn the cash directly, 100% of the cash goes to the Child Life Services. So if anybody wants to support us, come on down to Lowe's that morning. And, if you...
Or you can reach out to Southern Alberta Bikers right on Facebook. I'm sure you can send them a message if you want to support them. This event is on Saturday, so if you're compelled right now to feel like you need to support some children here in our own area who are, no matter what our day has been today, I'm pretty sure theirs is a little bit worse. So if there's any way we can give back, that's amazing. Please reach out to Southern Alberta Bikers, to your hospital, or show up at Lowe's, 3849 Mayor McGrath Drive, Saturday. What time?
9 o'clock. We start getting together at 9 o'clock,
Right.
and then the parade leaves at 11 o'clock sharp, and usually the parade itself takes about an hour
Okay.
to wrap up. And then we basically, once that's over, the group takes off on a little bit of a poker run around Southern Alberta. Now, of course, the thing we always struggle with, being Southern Alberta, is the weather.
Yes, of course.
I don't remember us ever getting completely weathered out. There's some of us that we refuse to let the event be unsuccessful, so we'll ride regardless of
That's
anything.
right.
But, the first and foremost thing is safety, of course. But regardless of the weather, we will do the parade one way or another. And the poker run afterwards, of course, is all dependent on the weather too. And, we'll modify the event however we have to.
You always
you know.
got to be ready for that modification at an event.
Well,
You never know.
There always has to be a contingency plan,
Yeah,
right?
because there's always got to be something. Or you go to do a ride or something and it's always raining. Or
In Southern Alberta, you can get up to go for a ride at 8:30, and by 9 you're canceling the ride because there's
Yeah.
whatever, so, but,
What is your role in the community, Dallas? What do you do?
well, I'm actually the logistics manager at Bridge City Chrysler. I've been with Bridge City Chrysler for, I believe, 21 years now.
Okay.
And so I've worked for them. I've been the president of the Southern Alberta Bikers for, I'm not even sure anymore, 15, 16 years. I think
Okay.
I became president by an unfortunate story. A very, very good friend of mine and a mentor in the biking community, Al Liptak, him and his wife Linda were on a vacation in Malaysia, I believe it was, and he actually had a heart attack in the ocean and passed away.
Oh,
And
goodness.
Linda called me up once the smoke cleared, and it was about 6 o'clock in the morning, and she calls me and says, "Good morning, Mr. President." I'm like, "What?" And she took it quite lightheartedly, but at any rate, I was more than honored to step into Al's shoes. We've got a core group of about 20 or 25 people that
Okay.
we've been together for a lot of years. We were actually all involved in a previous group, and about 20 years ago, I believe it was, we formed Southern Alberta Bikers, and we've had the core group, like I've said, right from the beginning, and our membership will vary anywhere from 50 to 150 people. I remember years where we could fill up the basement of the Legion. At one time, we were basically probably one of the very few motorcycle clubs, or I guess I should say, not nationally supported. Like, we have groups like the Goldwing Rural Riders Association, the national group, but we're probably the longest standing independent club, and we are the sanctioning bodies for both parades. We have our toy run in the fall.
That's right.
But yeah, like I said, I've been working for Bridge City for 21 years. My parents live here, and got lots of family here, so I'm involved in more than I probably should be, but I hate sitting around, so
Right.
always doing something. So
Right, but to do what you do, because you're doing To form a little club of bikers wanting to hang out and do the same things and, reminisce and talk and go for rides together is one thing, but then forming one where you actually give back and do things for the community is a different thing. That's about something else, right?
Yeah, it's
So what is that about for you? What about helping others is intriguing to you? Why do you do it?
I think most of us don't realize how fortunate we are.
Yes.
We my dad's struggling right now,
Hmm.
and I think the key is giving back to the community, because we all have to support one another when times get tough.
Yeah.
We all need to be there for one another, and the motorcycle community is unbelievably strong.
Hmm.
You have no idea, and you don't respect it till you're a part of it.
That's very
And-
true.
And they call it the brotherhood, and most people don't understand that either. But I know that. I'm sorry, I'm getting choked up
That's
here.
okay.
Because I've watched it. We've had members.
We
that have-
need to let people know that it is true. It is a brotherhood and a sisterhood of people who are unconditional.
Well, it is. We in our own club we've had people that have had horrible accidents, and it's amazing the support that the membership, and it's not even of your own club. When the biking community as a whole bands together, there's no stronger family, and we, like I said, we've had members go down, with horrific injuries over the years, and together, the biking community comes together as a whole to support one another.
That's right.
And there's lots of different clubs, whether bikers building bridges,
Back,
there's so many of them, 212, and there's another one that they just formed. I can't even think of the name of them
one
right now.
fallen biker.
Well, one broken biker, and then Wheels, John and those guys just formed a new club as well that's all about supporting, less fortunate kids and whatnot. And it's the community is, it's not just about being a club and riding it. It's about giving back to the community
That's
that
right.
we all live and thrive in.
And we're all trying to make that change and just hopefully see it flourish in our community so that we build a stronger community
we're
for
and-
our own children.
Well, we're all better for it, right?
That's right.
Most of the people, the biker community as a whole has got a bad rap over the years,
Yeah.
and negative publicity travels way quicker and makes more of an impact than positive does.
Or the TV shows and stuff that we're watching
Yeah.
make us sometimes think a different way
Yes.
what things are truly at. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm sure there's some Sons of Anarchy going on somewhere, but I don't think
Yeah.
it's here in Lethbridge.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
don't believe everything you read and read on the internet or see on TV.
Yeah.
If you want to see the real impact, look on. I mean, we're not the only ones that have a Facebook page. Look,
Yes.
follow us on the media and see what really goes on,
Yeah.
about what we're really all about, and what puts a smile on our face. It's pretty rewarding when you see 100 or 200 bikers gathered around a pile of teddy bears as big as a truck, and they're all gleaming because they're proud of what they did.
That's right.
And to see how many people's lives this impacts directly. When you get that big of a group together, I'm sure you and I could start comparing stories, and somewhere something that the biker community has done has affected somebody very close in our circle. And
I
it's,
think about, I'm new to the biker community, and it's something I hope I never ever have to not be part of. I think about all the times in my life I've had to move, and I've had to struggle to try to figure out how I'm going to move and who's going to come move me and where we're going to get a truck and who's are the guys that are going to come and move all this stuff and how are we going to get this done and who's going to clean the fridge while we're moving all this stuff and who's going to bring the donuts, blah, 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 blah. And the last time I moved, I never had to think of any of that, not one thing.
Yeah.
I just said I had to move. That's all I had to do. And everything else was taken care of. And I'll never, ever be able
Yeah.
to forget that.
Here's, talking about that, we had a member of ours, unfortunately, go down in Two Medicine in Montana a number of years back, and he went off a corner and ended up against a tree and crushed his knee. And of course, he was going to be, you know, in a cast or wheelchair bound for a period of time. And the home that they were living in at that time was an older home where the raised entry was probably 4 feet off the ground.
Right.
And once he was out of the hospital, he was going to have a wheelchair ramp to get into the house. And I will never forget the group of people that came together. I kind of reached out.
Yeah.
And, you know, we pre-built a bunch of it, and then we just had a work day one Saturday. We said, we're all getting together. We're getting together at 10 o'clock to put this wheelchair ramp together. And if I'm not careful, I'm going to get choked up again, but I remember it like it happened yesterday. You know, in a couple hours, not only did we have that wheelchair ramp, well, and the funny part, and when it's through Alberta Health, it has to be to a certain slope. There's certain parameters you have to build it to and make it in order to make it legal. Well, we had a couple of people in our club that are, you know, journeyman carpenters and whatnot that pitched in, and within a couple hours, not only did we have it built, it was painted and perfect, and it
Right.
was unbelievable.
That is unbelievable. So think about that. If you want to support anything, if you want to be part of anything, you can always reach out to any of your biker clubs or groups here in Lethbridge. All of them are here to help you. All of them are here for their main agendas and want to give back, and they need your help also. So if you want to ride, come ride. If you want to volunteer, come volunteer. If you want to give your money, do that too. Or if you have a teddy bear, they need that too. So it's just about the end of our show, Dallas, today. It looks like we could have filled an hour with all the stuff that we want to talk about, eh?
Yeah, we could go on for a while, but
Yeah.
but
It's
yeah.
motorcycle awareness. We might want to talk about that for just a minute.
Yes, it is that season, and it seems like it's once again it's been a little bit of a rough start to the riding season. I know there's been a number of fatalities in southern Alberta, and you know, it's the bikers obviously have their part, but obviously it's a two-way street, literally. I mean, the four-wheelers, when our biking season is quite short here, you know. We're
You
lucky.
only got to watch out for us for just so long. Please just take that extra look. Just check that shoulder check. It's really, I know it's annoying to shoulder check. I just started driving and I can't stand it, but we got to do it.
Well, I think the biggest thing is people are used to, you know, in Canada, we're required to have driving lights. Well, on most vehicles, you have two lights, and people, when they see a single headlight, it doesn't register as fast. And,
Oh,
you know,
good
that's the biggest cause of accidents involving motorcycles is unsafe left turns against a motorbike.
That's right.
And we had an incident of that last fall, actually, right at the end of the riding season last year. A very good friend of mine, actually my best friend, had a gentleman make a left turn in front of him, and unfortunately, my best friend ended up in pretty rough shape, and he's recovered now and everything is good, but that is the biggest cause of motorbike accident is an unsafe left turn against a motorbike. And so just respect a motorbike. They're a form of transportation just like anything else.
Yeah.
And you know, we're insured, registered just like any other vehicle. We have a right to the roadway just like any other vehicle, and it's a case of sharing the road.
That's right.
That's the biggest thing is share the road.
Yeah, exactly. It's not that hard, really, and so just keep that in your memory here. Check your left turns, make sure you do your shoulder checks, and just be aware if possible. So one more time, Southern Alberta Bikers Motorcycle Awareness and Teddy Bear Parade this Saturday at Lowe's. Registration begins at 9 a.m. Bring a packaged teddy bear. We really hope to see you there. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dallas.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, and have a good evening. See you next time on Awareness Hour with Kathleen.